There's been a lot of talk in the last week or so since the results of the US election, and it's been talk about the division that the world is currently facing. And yet, a lot of the discussions I've heard from the other side have been using the same sorts of divisive language. And I don't think that is going to help repair the situation, which is what the world is in great need of. So, when I think of 2024, I think about the US election, and that has impacts for the globe. That is going to be one of the standout moments of the year. But also, let's not forget Paris, the Olympic and Paralympic Games. And when I was thinking about that, I came to think about the 206 nations that were represented there and the refugee teams, so 207 teams all up. You had Russians and Ukrainians, you had Israelis, you had Palestinians, you had Democrats, you had Republicans. From an Australian perspective, you had Labor and Liberal voters. You know, there were people there that came from all sorts of ideological, religious, and economic backgrounds, and they made it work. And that is one of the things, no matter what you think about the Olympics and the faults that surround that, but that is one of the real standout things that maybe we can all take a lesson from. Now, some of the women who won gold medals for Australia, I was lucky enough to interview for a special feature for Marie Claire magazine. Marie Claire had their Woman of the Year awards last night, and the champion award went to the BMX gold medalist, Saya Sakakibara. Now, just listen to what she has to say because she's a unique character. And I think in so many ways, her message is relevant to us all as we try to look for how we can help heal the world, how we can help bring it back together as we say goodbye to 2024 and prepare to welcome a new year in 2025.
Saya, I guess the biggest thing really is how do you look back on your Paris experience and where that sits sort of in the scale of your life?
Wow, big question straight off the bat. When I look back at my Olympic experience, I think about how much I enjoyed it. But I walked away with getting what I wanted and the success that it came with it and the celebrations that came with everything. And my mind tends to forget all the feelings of nerves and those stressing moments before the race. And not a few days before the race, I got COVID, and that was a challenge that I had to go through. And like when I look back, the only kind of thing I think about is how much I enjoyed it. But there were moments there that I doubted myself, and this is the realization that this is the only opportunity. Like, it's been 3 years since the last games. I've worked really hard, and this is the time where I really need to step up and perform at my best. So there was many times where I doubted myself, but in the end, being able to, I'm just very proud of myself that I was able to perform the best that I could at the when it mattered most. And I knew that, yeah, I think that's the biggest thing I think about with these games. Because my whole campaign was so revolved around, I was so focused on my process. I really don't think so. The reason why was because we were outside of the village. So we stayed in a hotel not far from the venue. So everything just seemed so normal. Like, it didn't feel like the Olympic Games, and I wasn't distracted by the whole spectacle of going to like the dining hall and maybe meeting like a really high profile athlete and things like that. That stuff didn't happen. So um I was just so focused on my process. So I can't tell you very much about other than my process and how I was feeling, because I was just so consumed in my own little bubble. And then it was after the fact that I was able to go out there and enjoy. I went into the city, went to the Red Bull house, went to the Oakley house. I watched so much Olympics on TV, and the coverage was insanely good. And I honestly couldn't believe how amazing all the venues looked like, especially the beach volleyball, like
Yeah.
next to the Eiffel Tower was just incredible. And yeah, I mean, I think about all the times after the race where I really had this huge weight off my shoulders, and I could really enjoy the Olympics as a fan.
So it's great that you got to enjoy it as a fan, because that's one of the hardest things when you're an athlete. And when you watch from the outside, you're just going from celebration to celebration. Obviously, some people don't do what they set out to do, and those times can be quite traumatic, and we empathize with that. But for you to have had that, sort of double experience is really incredible. But then how do you take something that is so magical, something that you've dedicated a lifetime to, and saying, okay, that's great, that's over there now. And now I've got to refocus, and now I've got to set a new agenda. How do you do that?
I think it starts from the heart, and I think it starts from that fire in your belly, because if you don't have that and you try to put that aside and think about what's next, I mean, if you don't have the drive or the purpose, like you're not going to go anywhere, even if you try to put those steps in place. So I think in my instance, like I right now I'm in a stage where I'm just appreciating what I have achieved and really trying to make terms with it, because honestly it's quite insane, so big that I probably haven't fully comprehended the impact it has, not only for myself but also for Australia and also for BMX in Australia. I think I do have that fire in my belly to keep going. I think it's because I've really enjoyed the journey. Like I wasn't doing it, although it's something that really motivated me to get a gold medal at Paris, and that's what I wanted, and that was my vision, and that's why I imagined. I wasn't doing it purely for that. I was doing it for the growth that I would get by facing my fears and overcoming them, because I valued overcoming those fears so much more, and I was so much more proud of that than the gold medal, I think. So for me, when I look to the future, I don't think I'm gonna approach it as I'm a gold medalist, so I should be X. I'm thinking, now I'm a gold medalist, what can I achieve? I wonder it's like this curiosity. It's like I wonder what it'll be like. I wonder how I will perform. I wonder how much it will elevate me or not. And I wonder what I will learn from this experience. So I'm excited for that. And I'm excited for the challenges that will come. So I have that fire in my belly for the journey. And obviously for us, it's that 4-year cycle, and LA is the next one. And I'll prioritize that one, work backwards from there, what I want to achieve there and the person I want to be there, and then set my plans up, working backwards from that point.
So I love the way you talk about it as a journey. And my final question would be then, uh, once you reach a destination on a journey, and like you say, you were proud of yourself for overcoming your fears. How do you capture that, or can you capture it? And if you had to explain to people, this is the winning formula, this is how I did it, and this is maybe how you can apply it to your life. Is that possible? Or is it you need to have that experience of the journey, and you also need a lot of other things in the galaxy to just work out right on that day for it to be your moment?
Oh, big questions, big questions. I think what I've learnt a lot over these past couple years is how important it is to do it your own way. You can't do what you can't do what everyone else is doing and expect to be something else. And the importance of taking a risk, doing something different, trusting yourself, going out and being curious to see like what you can learn from new experiences, I think is what set me apart from everyone else and what allowed me to grow so much in the last 2 years. So there is no winning formula, but there is your winning formula. And the secret to the success is to find what it is that works for you in that unique way that's only for you and no one else. And I think I'm just gonna stop there.
I think that's perfect.
I have a tendency just to keep going. I'm like, no, just stop. That's great.
That's great. Saya, thank you.